It starts on the opening night of the new season. It starts with the arrival of all those dear, devoted patrons of the arts who wave and greet each other in the grand salon, commenting on how this one looks, how that one is dressed, scarcely knowing what play they're about to see that evening, with the exception of one man, Ivan Ilyich Cherchikov. If Ivan Ilyich Cherchikov, a civil servant, a clerk in the Ministry of Public Parks, had any passion in life at all, it was the theater. Oh, certainly he had ambitions and hopes for higher office and had dedicated his life to hard work and zeal and patience, but still he would not deny himself this one great pleasure. And so he purchased 2 tickets in the very best section of the theater for the opening night performance of Rostov's The Bearded Countess. As fortune would have it, into the theater that night came his respected superior, General Mikhail Brassilov, the Minister of Public Parks himself.
Good evening, General.
What? Oh, yes. Good evening.
Permit me, sir, this is a great honor for me. I am Cherchikov, Ivan Ilyich.
Yes.
Well, like yourself, dear General, I too serve the Ministry of Public Parks. That is to say, I serve you, who indeed himself is the Minister of Public Parks. I am Assistant Chief Clerk in the Department of Trees and Bushes.
Ah, yes. Keep up the good work. Love the trees and bushes. Very nice.
My wife would like very much to meet you, General. This is she, Madame Cherchikov.
How do you do?
Oh, my pleasure.
My pleasure, General.
How do you do?
And Madame Brassilov, my wife, Madame Cherchikov.
How do you do, Madame Brassilov?
How do you do?
I just had the pleasure of meeting your husband.
And I am my wife's husband. How do you do, Madame Brassilov?
Shh. Sorry. Terribly sorry.
And so Cherchikov sat back to enjoy the Bearded Countess. He had made the most of this golden opportunity. He was no longer a stranger to the Minister of Public Parks. They had become, if one wanted to be generous about the matter, familiar with each other. And then, quite suddenly, without any warning, like a bolt out of a gray, thundering sky, Ivan Ilyich Cherchikov reared his head back and... Achoo!
Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry, Your Excellency. I'm so terribly sorry.
Never mind. It's all right.
Certainly it's not all right. It was unpardonable. Monstrous of me.
You make too much of the matter. Let it rest.
How can I let it rest? It was inexcusable. Permit me to wipe the back of your neck, General.
Leave it be. It's all right, I say.
The thing is, Your Excellency, it came completely without warning. It was out of my nose before I could even stifle it. Shh. Shh. Yes, certainly. Shh. So sorry. It's not cold if that's what you were worried about. Perhaps just a particle of dust in my nostril.
Shush.
But try as he might, Cherchikov could not put the incident out of his mind. The sneeze, nothing more than an innocent anatomical accident, grew out of all proportion in his mind until it resembled the angry roar of a cannon aimed squarely at the enemy camp. He played the incident back in his mind slowing the procedure down so he could view again in horror the infamous deed.
Charming!
Yes, charming.
Charming. Simply charming. Didn't you find it charming, my dear?
I found it utterly charming.
I was completely charmed.
Excuse me, Your Excellency.
Who's tapping? Somebody's tapping me. Who's that tapping?
I'm tapping, sir. I'm the tapper, Sherchikov.
Stand back, dear, it's a sneezer.
No, I'm all sneezed out. I was just concerned about you going out into the night air with a damp head, sir.
Oh, that. It was a trifle. A mere faux pas. Forget it, young man. Amusing play, don't you think? Did you find it amusing?
Amusing, mommy, that's so true. I haven't laughed like that in years.
What part interested you the most?
The sneeze. When I sneezed on you, sir. It was unforgivable, but an accident, I assure you.
Forget it, young man. Come, my dear. It looks like rain. I don't want to get my head wet again.
Oh, you shouldn't let people sneeze on you, dear. You are not to be sneezed at.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm ruined, I tell you. They'll have me fired from trees and bushes. They'll send me down to branches and twigs.
Oh, come, Ivan.
What?
Well, you mustn't let it concern you. It was just a harmless little sneeze. The General's probably forgotten about it already.
Do you really think so?
No, Ivan, I'm scared.
And so they walked home in despair.
Maybe if I were to buy him a nice gift. Maybe some Turkish towels.
Cherjikov's once promising career had literally been blown away.
Why did this even happen to me? Why did I go to the theater at all? Why did I sit in the balcony with people of our own class? They love to sneeze on each other.
Come to bed, Ivan.
No, maybe if I were to call on the General and explain myself in an honest, charming, self-effacing manner, he'd have no choice but to forgive me.
Maybe you shouldn't remind him, Ivan.
No. If I'm ever to become a gentleman, I must behave like one.
And so the morning came. Today was the day the General listened to petitions. And since there were 50 or 60 petitions ahead of him, Cherjikov waited from morning till late afternoon.
Next!
I'm not next, Your Excellency, I'm last.
Very well then. Last?
That'll be me, sir.
Well, what is your petition?
Well, I have no petition, sir. I'm not a petitioner.
Then you waste my time.
Do you not recognize me, Your Excellency? We met last night under rather explosive circumstances. I am the splatterer.
The what?
The sneezer. The one who sneezed, sir. The sneezing splatterer.
Ah, indeed. Well, what is it you want now? Somebody?
Well, no, Your Excellency. Your forgiveness. You see, I wasn't sure if I made it clear that there was no political or antisocial motivation behind my sneeze. It was a nonpartisan, nonviolent act of God. I cursed today this protuberance formed itself on my face. It's a hateful nose, and I am not responsible for its indiscretions. Punish that which committed the crime, but absolve the innocent body behind it. Exile my nose, but forgive me, Your Excellency. Please, forgive me.
My dear young man, I'm not angry with your nose. I'm too busy to have time for your nasal problems. I suggest you go home and take a hot bath or a cool one. Take something, but don't bother me with this silly business again. Gibber, gibber, gibber. It's all I've heard all day. Gibber, gibber. Gibber, gibber.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. God bless you and your wife and your home. And may your days be sweet and your nights better than your days.
The feeling of relief that came over him was enormous.
And may the birds sing at your window and in the morning, and may the coffee in your cup be strong and hot.
The weight of the burden that was lifted was inestimable.
Oh, I worship the chair that you sit on, and the uniform that sits on the chair that I worship.
He walked home singing and whistling like a lark. Life was truly a joy, a marvel, a heavenly paradise.
Oh, God, am I happy.
But yet,
And yet,
when he arrived home, he began to think.
have I been the butt of a cruel and thoughtless joke?
Had the minister toyed with him?
If he had no intentions of punishing me, then why did he torment me so unmercifully?
If the sneeze meant so little to the minister, why did he deliberately cause Cherjikov to writhe in his bed?
To twist in agony the entire night?
He was furious!
I am
He
furious!
foamed and fumed and paced the night through, and in the morning he called out to his wife, Sonia!
Sonia! I have been humiliated.
You, Ivan? Who would humiliate you?
The Minister of Public Parks himself, General Brasilov.
What did he do?
The swine. I was humiliated in such a subtle fashion. His cunning is only equal to his cruelty. He practically begged and forced me to go down to his office and beg and grovel on my knees. I was reduced to a gibbering idiot.
You were that reduced?
I must go back and tell the general what I think of him. The lower classes must speak out. The world must be made safe so that men of all nations and creeds, regardless of color or religion, be made safe to sneeze on their superiors. It is he who will be humiliated by I.
And so the next morning, Cherjikov came to humiliate he.
Last? Well?
Well, you say? Well, you say? Do you not recognize me, Your Excellency? Look at my face. Yes, you are quite correct. It is I once again.
It's you once again who?
Cherjikov, Your Excellency, and I have returned not taking a hot bath nor a cold one.
Who let this filthy man in? What is it?
What is it? What is it, you ask? You sit there behind your desk in your lofty position as the Minister of Public Parks and ask me, what is it? Oh. You sit there knowing full well that there is no equality in this life, that there are those of us that serve and those of us that are served, those of us that bow and those of us that are bowed to, those of us that obey while others are obeyed. And that in this life there are certain events that cause some of us to be humiliated, while others are the cause of that humiliation. And still you ask, what is it?
What is it? Don't stand there gibbering like an idiot. What is it you want?
I'll tell you what I want, sir. I wanted to apologize again for sneezing on you, sir. It was an accident, I assure you, an accident.
Out! Out, you idiot! You fool! You imbecile! Get out of my sight! I never want to see you again. If you cross my line of vision, I'll have you exiled forever. What is your name?
Cherjikov!
You germ spreader! You maggot! You insect! You're lower than an insect! You're the second cousin to a cockroach! The brother-in-law to a bedbug! You're the rotten nephew of a ringworm! You are nothing! Nothing! Do you hear me? Nothing!
At that moment, something broke loose inside of Cherjikov. Something so deep and vital, so organic, that the damage that was caused seemed irreparable. Something drained from him that can only be described as the very life force itself. The matter was over. For once, for all, forever. What happened next was quite simple. Ivan Ilyich Cherjikov went home, removed his coat, collapsed onto his chair, and died.